I'm not a morning person.
Dedicated to being passionate about it.
Bodybuilders have become more lazy.
People have always thought I lift fake weights.
Iran and the United States.
You take responsibility for that.
A lot of times recently, though, it feels like a lot of the gurus or coaches, they get a bad rap for some reason, right? It almost becomes something like a bad word to say, you know. But do you think a coach should be ever responsible for athletes' health?
Well, at the end of the day, you know, the athlete is going to do it regardless. At the end of the day, a coach should understand the risk. And the coach should let the athlete know, I said, listen, there's potential risk in whatever you do. But at the end of the day, the athlete is going to make the ultimate decision to use whatever he wants to use. You know what I mean? So I don't think the coaches are responsible. There are irresponsible coaches out there, I'm saying that, where they're using a huge amount of things that are totally not necessary. You know what I mean? Just because they never learned it the right way, you know? Because, think about it. Everybody's a coach nowadays. I've never seen so many prep coaches in my life. Never even heard of them. Every athlete that hired a coach for one show, as soon as the show's over, they are offering prep. So there's no experience there. You know what I mean? Experience as a coach doesn't mean you have to have experience as an athlete. It helps. Being a competitor for a long time, you know, helps because you get experiences in certain things, in certain protocols. But experience, and to be a great coach, you got to understand to work with different types of people, different types of metabolisms, different types of, you know what I mean? This athletes, everybody's a little different. That shows you, and that comes from coaching experience. I'm talking years and years of coaching different variety of different athletes.
Now, you agree that competitive bodybuilding is an extreme sport, right, to a certain degree?
Yes.
So, you know, I've been asking a lot of the same questions to a lot of the gurus and athletes that I've been talking to recently, and nobody can give me like a very precise answer, you know, because a lot of people that are watching this channel are basically, you know, aspiring bodybuilders, right? And they want to get into the industry. They want to be on the stage, you know what I mean? They want to make a name for themselves. What is the right way to really learn about competitive bodybuilding? Is it really just going out to a guy like you, hiring you and going, you know, taking them through the ropes? Or is it what, Googling stuff online? Like, what's the right approach to learn about bodybuilding? You know what I'm saying?
Well, Google, no, Mr. Google is Mr. Google. You can Google anything.
No, but people say do your research. Like, how do you do the research? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say I want to be a bodybuilder. How do I do the research?
Yeah, doing your research. There's no school that we can call. There's no, you know, there's no specific website. When I tell people do your research means ask around, ask people. You ask hundreds of people. You know what I mean? Don't run to the next guy with the bigger arm. You know, find out, do your research, find out who's been doing this for a long time. And then sooner or later, you're going to have to get to a person where you have to put some trust in. You know, there's no way around it. You know what I mean? And like I said, you know, everybody's a prep coach nowadays. And a lot of guys don't even have the experience being a prep coach. Because at the end of the day, every athlete that's been competing, they can get themselves all the way to the show. Let's say a couple of days, 1 week out from the show. That's when an athlete needs a second eye. Somebody that just, because when you get to a point after dieting weeks and months, you look at yourself every day, you don't see what you're supposed to see. You know what I mean? Some people, they think they're better than they really are. And some people it's vice versa, you know, but so you need somebody in your corner that has just got to be brutally honest with you. You know what I mean? To tell you, say, listen, you're not there. You know what I mean? You know, back off or whatever, or up the cardio. You know, and that's hard to find because everybody's just patting everybody on the back, telling them how great they are. And then when they get on stage and they don't place, then they're mad at the coach. You know what I mean?
How did you learn, by the way, about like who taught you about bodybuilding?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I learned a lot by myself because I was living in Thailand. There was nobody there I could look up to. You know what I mean? There was one guy, I would never forget my very beginning when I started bodybuilding. I started training back in March or May, I don't remember, 92.
Your father was stationed in Thailand? He was serving there?
No. I went to Thailand on a trip. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, 1990.
How old were you?
I was 24 or 26. I don't remember, somewhere around there, in my mid-20s. And I was supposed to go two weeks, and I ended up staying 15 years. That was my 2-week Thailand trip. And I didn't start bodybuilding until 2 years later, so 92. And I was just, it was just basically $100 bet. I don't know if you know the story.
No, I don't know. Or maybe you mentioned it to me briefly, but I know about
Yeah,
Thailand.
it was just $100 bet. You know, we used to hang out at nights, you know, and then there was just guys from Sweden, Denmark, Germany. You know, you could see these guys are bodybuilders, and they used to come hang out with us, you know, and they come in their tank tops and they walking like this, and, you know, we get drunk every night. And after, I don't know, it was after a while, I said to this one guy, I said, listen, to look like you would take me less than 3 months. Or 3 months, something just similar to that. And he's like, nah, there's no way you can look like me in 3 months. And we put, in my drunken state of mind, I was drunk. I said, all right, come on, $100. And I literally went to the gym the next day with those guys, started training. I didn't know what to do. I just followed what they did. And got my money after 6 weeks.
Wow. So, well, you had your body was adapted to it quickly, right?
It was unbelievable. I gained like 2 pounds every day just by training. You know, I didn't change anything else. And that was 92. I was on the Universe stage in England in 93. And all that happened in Thailand. I was on the beach, you know. Now I'm training for a few months now, like 6, 7 months, you know. I had a good build.
Why Thailand? Why did you stay there for 15 years?
Why? Because I liked it.
Wow, nice.
As a single man, you know, what better place? I mean, back in the 90s, it was way better than it is today, I'm sure. So anyway, so on the beach, somebody approached me, asked me, I said, hey, what show are you getting ready for? I said, show? I said, I'm getting ready for the go-go bar tonight. That's what I was getting ready for. And he said, yeah, because he was a very close friend to the president of the NABA Association. And you probably heard of NABA. NABA is once they hold the prestigious Universe.
I heard about it, yeah.
Years. Arnold won that. So he said, because he's from Germany. So he said, listen, next time you're in Germany, come see me. I want to introduce you to the guy. All right. That was it. So a couple of months later, I'm in Germany. I contacted this guy. He invited me to his house. I went over to his house. And then here comes the president with a video. I'll never forget, with the 1992 Mr. Universe from Birmingham, England. He puts in the VHS, and there was Mustafa Mohammed. He just won the Universe Amateur overall, big legs. And he asked me, like, you know, hey, could you hang with it? I was like, sure. I was just playing around. I didn't know he was serious. So he says, okay, I invite you for the Mr. Universe that year, which was 93. So that was sometime in April or May when I was talking to him, and he invited me to compete at the Universe in October. So I'm like, what time do you want me to be there? So he said, listen, we have a qualifier the week before in Germany called the Night of Champions for the NABA, where the team qualifies to go to the Universe. He said, yeah, I want you to compete with us. You know, if you can hang with them, you know, we'll take you to England with us. All right. He left. I told the guy he was joking, right? He said, no, he was serious. So I told him it was May 92, 93. I said, I better get ready. So I went back to Thailand and I asked my Italian friend, Piero Colucci, because he was the only one I knew that competed before. Hey, how do I diet for a show? So he told me, I'll never forget that. He told me chicken or turkey, pasta, and pineapple. He didn't tell me how much. So I was eating chicken, turkey, or chicken, pasta, and pineapple as much as I could all day. And I guarantee you, I came to Germany for the qualifier. I ended up, and this guy, Mustafa Mohammed, he was the guest poser. I ended up competing with these guys and ended up, had the people asking for more. I had to come back, do another routine because I didn't really know how to pose. I was doing this, I was breakdancing because I used to be a breakdancer. So I was pop locking on stage. So I killed the whole show. You know what I mean? So that was 93, and a week later, they brought me to England with the German team. I competed for the United States. I'm American. To this day, well, no, I met the Americans later. I was on the American team, but I was not included with them because I didn't even know who they were. I was the only American that year that placed in the top 5 in any event that day. So this is how I got to meet the following year. This is how I got to meet Bob Gruskin, who just passed away, who was the president for the NABA from New York. Because I was American, but they didn't even know I was coming. They had no idea.
So you went from a bet to like becoming a serious
I went from the
competitor.
go-go bar to 4th at the Universe. And the following year, I went back to the Universe and I got 2nd. And then the 3rd year I went back and I won. So in 95, I won the Universe. Yeah, that was my, and that was on NABA. So my dream was IFBB, because everybody thinks about the Olympia, and I'm looking at magazines, Fleck, Kevin Lavone, all these guys. I knew it from magazines. Keep in mind, I'm living in Thailand, and I traveled to England to compete. So I did the 93, the 94, and the 95. I won the 95 Universe Amateur. Then I competed at the Pro Universe in 96, also in England. It's in conjunction with the amateurs. I got 2nd. But then I told myself, I want to be IFBB. What do I have to do in order to compete with the IFBB? Me as a U.S. citizen, 2 options. Option number 1, go to the U.S., because there's only the USA Championship or the Nationals. Back then, there was only 2 ways to get a pro card. In the other part of the world, there's one more chance, which is the World Championships. If you win the overall, you get your pro card, and back then, you even qualified for the Olympia. So I figured, you know what? Let me go to the U.S. 1997, I bought a flight from Pattaya, Thailand, or from Bangkok. I remember Los Angeles. All I knew from magazines, there was no internet. From magazines was Gold Ship Venice, Marina Del Rey. Marina Pacific, which was the hotel where everybody stayed when they came from out of town, and Firehouse, the restaurant. That's all I knew. So I bought a flight to Los Angeles. I took a cab to the Marina Pacific. I remember I had a room there, and I went to the reception. I said, "Hey, where's Gold's Gym?" I just walked a couple of blocks down this way, which I had no idea that a block is forever. So I walked to Gold's. Took me like 20 minutes, 25, maybe 30 minutes. So I walked into Gold's Gym, and I remember I see the sign, and they had the street sign, for, caution, bodybuilders crossing, everything I just knew from magazines. So I walked into Gold's Gym. This is a true story. It's unbelievable. Nobody knew who I was. I walked in, and I remember the first guy I saw walking past me, huge, big Paul Dillette. I was like,
He was big, right?
so, huh?
He was huge, right? Paul Dillette.
Huge. And you know how it is? It's different. You don't see yourself. You look at other people, even if they're smaller than you, and you're like, he's big. Look at the arms. And you don't compare yourself until you see pictures where you stand next to each other. Like, hey, I'm bigger than him. But I wasn't bigger than Paul. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this is the first person I saw. I knew everybody trains there. So I keep going. I started training. I felt like an idiot. You know what I mean? I was shy. And I was like, oh. And you know how bodybuilders are. They don't really approach you, So I was there for a couple of days before one person approached me, Rico McClinton. That was, back then, it was Flex's training partner. So he said, "Hey, man, where you from?" And I told him, I said, "Yeah, man, I live in Thailand." Thailand, like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to go into the IFBB." I didn't even know it was NPC in the US. I had no clue. So him and Gary Stryden, they basically hindered me to contact. First he said, because I told him, I said, "Yeah, I competed at NABA, I won the Universe." He said, "Hey, you in here? IFBB. Don't even mention it." So I kept my mouth shut. So they told me, contact John Lindsay. I contacted John Lindsay over the phone. "Listen, I want to sign up an NPC card." Back then, the NPC card was $40. And he said, "Where you want me to send the card to?" I said, "Thailand." He's like, "John Lindsay, what the f you doing in Thailand?" So all this, I got the NPC card. And so 1997, I competed at the first NPC show, which was, you had to qualify to do either the USAs or the Nationals. So back then, there was no super heavyweights. It was all heavyweights was the last one. So I had to qualify. So I remember I asked, where can I qualify before the Nationals? San Diego, Border States Classics. Also John Lindsay's show, if I remember correctly. So I fly back to the U.S. for this Border States Classic. I had no idea how to get to San Diego. How do you get to San Diego? I said, "Oh, you got to drive." I was like, "Okay, how?" Rent a car. Back then, I didn't even have a credit card. So you couldn't even get a rent a car. So I had a friend there, not a friend, somebody I met that I was pretty close. I said, "Listen, help me out." He knew a rental car place where he could, guarantee you for cash. So I rented a car. I brought him with me because I didn't know where to go. There was no GPS back then. And we drove to San Diego. I'll never forget it. I signed in for novice. This is my first show in the NPC. So it's the first time a novice. So remember, we get to the room, athletes meeting, and it says novice, all in this room, open, all in the other room. So I get myself up, I walk into the room with the novice for weigh-ins. I take my clothes off, they say, oh, hell no. You go back into the other room. They sent me right back to the open. So I got on stage the next day. I remember exactly, and this I'll never forget, because as soon as I still had hair, and as soon as I got on stage, people calling me Kevin Lerone. So I won the overall, and even though this was supposed to be the qualifier for the following year, because it was the end of the year, they still, because I came from out of the country, they said, we'll let you go into the Nationals 2 or 3 weeks later. And I went to the Nationals and placed fourth. My first Nationals. Tom Prince won. Orville Burke got second. Gary Downing got third. I got fourth. I don't remember who got fifth, and Dave Palumbo got sixth. So that was my first Nationals. So I tell myself, listen, I'm going to train 1 year and come back for the Nationals next year. And I remember Lonnie Teeper came to me and said, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to get ready for next year, and I'm going to come back even better. He said, why wait till next year in November? Do the USAs in July. And I thought from the magazines, July was the West Coast show. Everybody, favorites the West Coast guys. But I said, you know what? Let's go. So I went back. I prepared. I went back to California, July the following year, Las Vegas. And that was the first year to introduce the super heavies. So I was 215 in November, and I weighed in at 232 in July. And won the super heavies, first super heavies, and won the overall, won my USAs and my first try. Got my pro card. That's how it all started.
And did you continue eating pineapples and pasta the whole time?
No. No. That was for the first year, that first show. I didn't really. And then you start picking up. You start learning stuff. I still never had a coach. Until I competed, I won the USA all by myself. I competed at the 1999 Night of Champions, was my pro debut. And this is where I met Milos.
Milos Sarcev, yeah. He's a coach now, yeah.
He approached me at where you from, and blah blah blah. He told me what the potential I had, what talent. He saw the talent, and you know what I mean. He said, I would like to help you. You know what I mean? And I had no idea. I was like, hey, you get a guy like this, offer you help, of course. So that's when I started working with Milos for the next couple of years. You know what I mean? And the rest is history.